They're always looking for help. Well, the help is there. You just don't know how to ask for it, and it's inside you. And so the help comes when you start engaging the very thing that you may have had some previous lifetime involved with. And I don't say this lightheartedly, okay? But here's the exercise. You sit or lay quietly. Try to empty your brain the best you can. If you can't focus on some spot in between your eyes, behind your eyebrows, then try and close your eyes and focus on a spot on the ceiling. Pick a spot and in your eyes closed, imagine the spot on the ceiling. And the longer you can do that, within a 10 or 15 minute period, you're going to be exercising your ability to shut down the brain and all the garbage that filters in and out of there all day long that most people don't even know what to do with. The second part would be if you have the frequency, if you have a sound, if you have a note, a flute, a bell, a horn, a whistle, a frequency, electrical current, I don't care what it might be. It might even be the sound of the ocean. You know what you hear when you put the seashell up to your ear?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like the ocean, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what you're getting? When you put that seashell up to your ear, you're getting the reverberation of your own sound current into your head through your ear with that shell.
Oh, wow.
Okay? So, and I'm going to tell you something. That just now came to me as a remedy for people who can't discern whether or not they're sitting quietly and they're hearing this sound inside their head by just trying to listen for it. I just gave you an alternate remedy to get you connected with that sound current. Once you do that, and you're religious, I hate that word, once you're focused on doing that in a regular sequence of time, an event will come to you, which is already coming because you're in the middle of this, of something you might want to do to help yourself grow spiritually. That spiritual growth comes when you're willing to face something that you're afraid of doing, or you're fearful of having consequences for, or you're just plain afraid. That's when the growth starts. And that's what builds your protective cloak around you and the people who are close to you who are open to the same idea. And this protection is an energy that emanates from the very universe that you are part of creating, and it will come to you once you start focusing on it and the whole thing. Because if you're not, what you're doing isn't for the whole, then it's self-isolated, and you're only trying to fix some of your own personal problems. You're not interested in the whole because you're part of that. You're part of the whole. So this is your beginning, opening, and your remedy to begin this process. Whether you accept the assignment or not, well, you remember what was that one movie where it
Charlie's
said
Angels
Mission Impossible?
or Mission Impossible, either one of those. Yeah, Charlie's Angels was the same one.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
if you're willing to accept the assignment, you know, here you go. And all I'm going to do is give all you people, whoever wants it, who's ready for it, to sit down to a computer, look at a document that's on the site, and write the words in, and look at each one of the words as you write it, and ask yourself a question. What's the true meaning of this as it would apply to me in this present reality where the people are sovereign, not the government? And then you might have to look in Noah Webster's 1828 dictionary to get an idea. Now, there's a lot of dictionaries out there, and I've looked at all of them. And I'll tell you what, there's as many convoluted definitions as there are true ones. And the only dictionary that I've been able to put my hands on that was anywhere near close to truth was that Noah Webster's 1828 dictionary, American dictionary. Blacks, and I've got all the Blacks editions, Bovier's. I got all the Bovier's editions. I've got the whole U.S. Constitution annotated from a book that was issued by one of the law schools, Harvard, to all of its graduates who graduated from law school, code school, and I've got so much. I got a library at Chocahorse, and it's all about foundation because all the rest of it is about licensable activities that affect the public. I
Right.
don't need
And
to
we're
hear
not
any of that.
supposed to have license. We already have the permission to do that from just being who we are, right?
You have the permission to answer questions for someone who's asking you. You don't have the right to tell it to them without permission. You don't have
Wow.
the right to go stand on a street corner and blab your philosophies to the world. You don't
Right.
have a right. You don't have a right to put a for sale sign up on your telephone pole out front of your house and that you got flowers for sale. You don't have a right to put I'm a taxi cab driver on the side of your car. You don't have a right to sell anything into the public sector without permission. But you have a right to do all those things privately. That's the whole key to this whole thing. The Constitution wasn't created to regulate your privacy. It was created to regulate all commercial activity affecting the people of this nation. That's where that was created for. And the founders emanate that in several places. And you know what? I had a case I was looking at just last week, and the words, the Constitution was written to regulate commerce. And it was right there in my face. And it wasn't a couple hours later, I went back to find it, and it wasn't there. I'm like, whoa, that's pretty heavy stuff. I've had this happen before. I wasn't looking at a hard reading of something. I was looking at a spiritual created moment in time to show me exactly what I already knew. But it was coming from another frequency, another place and time, and there it was, right in my face. And I said, yeah, okay. I get confirmations all the time in ways that most people look at me like, oh, you got to be nuts. Yeah, I
Well, no,
sure
I
am,
don't think
buddy.
you're nuts because I don't know. I've heard of this happening to people before, and you
Well, then
know, it
you
hasn't
already got
happened to
evidence.
me.
You got evidence
Yeah.
of it. And when it starts happening to you, and when you take the time to do these little exercises I'm telling you about, you're going to start having experiences because the universe is looking for those who are ready to wake up and to take a step towards the benefit of the whole. Because if you're only interested in some little your own personal problems in life, you're on the wrong track. And that's okay because you'll come back again and go through it all again. That's okay. Ain't nobody going to tell you what you can or cannot experience. You're going to decide that all by yourself. And you'll know at some point whether it's right, wrong, or otherwise. That's the whole process. I can't tell you. I can't tell you if fire's hot if you don't know it's hot.
Right.
And you got to have
But you
you
have
got
to
to have
experience it,
exactly. You got to stick your hand
just
in
like
there
a
to find out.
baby. No, a
Exactly.
baby needs to learn all of this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And let me tell you
So
something.
we're babies.
The mother syndrome is a very difficult emotional issue with moms and the female side, and it's
Yeah.
not the easiest thing to overcome, especially when it comes to your kids.
Yeah.
And I can't help that. I know it, I see it, I watch it, I understand it. And look up the word understand in Noah Webster's. You're going to love it. Because all the
Okay.
crap you may have heard about that word is a lie. And the word overstand doesn't even fit into that definition because it doesn't even relate to what people want to say. Oh, I overstand you. You better go look it up, buddy. You got the wrong idea about the use of words.
So,
So
can I ask? Can shall I call you Eminem or Mike or Mason or
I'm going to
can
tell you
we?
something, Mr. High Tide.
All right.
You call me whatever's comfortable for you.
Well, as
I
long
don't care. Just don't
I'll be
call me
sure and
late
call
for
you for supper. Yeah,
don't call me late for dinner, okay?
yeah. You talked about the Noah Webster's dictionary, and I went around downstairs in my daughter's books and stuff, and I found a Merriam Webster's collegiate,
Not it.
and I need to get the other one, huh?
Oh, I'm going to give you a specific. When I tell you something,
Yeah.
don't
Well,
try
that's
and
what I thought
substitute
you
it for
said.
something else. No,
1928, Noah,
No,
American
no
18,
Webster's.
1828.
1828,
1828. 18.
and it's
Yeah.
the and it says right on the front cover, the American Dictionary of
Yes.
the English language. It
Okay.
doesn't say the English dictionary.
Well, I'm about to order it from Amazon, and I
Perfect.
just
Now let me
wanted to
tell you
be sure
something
I
else.
got the right one.
Okay, if you're gonna order the green covered Noah Webster's, you might want to get the DVD that has that on the DVD, so you
Oh,
can do word searches because you
okay.
can't do it when you got the online version. You can't do it, and if you got the hard book, you can do it, but that's a lot of work.
Well,
And
I
I'm
was.
telling you something. I've gone through this. My wife and I we transposed that dictionary from the DVD and put all these different words and combinations and all where they all fit together in a same order. Like if you look up the word law, you're going to find it all over the place. But you can't do it if you got the hardback,
I was
and
going
you
to
can't
order. Yeah, go ahead.
get the DVD with it.
Okay, I was going to order the downloadable PDF.
That's fine, but you still can't do word search.
Oh,
All you can do is put in the word you want the definition for, and there's a lot of things missing in that download version that aren't in the hard copy or the
oh,
DVD. And
okay.
there's just they don't because it would be too voluminous. If you take
Yeah,
a look at the original book, it's
it is.
over
It's
two
big.
it's over 2 inches thick.
Well, it's yeah, bigger than that.
However
It's
it is, two. I'm
it's
looking at my
big.
hands. Maybe 2.5 at the
I'm
most.
just looking at a. It's. I'm just looking at this. Yeah,
I'm a carpenter and I know dimensions. Okay,
yeah.
so
Well,
anyway, it's irrelevant.
anyway,
The point is it's
yeah,
a very, very educational document for all people who are. I don't care if you're a Christian or not. Don't matter.
yeah. And the
Uh,
blacks is in English dictionary, right? The blacks is an
yep, and it's
English
and it's
law.
been there isn't anything that's been written in the history of this country where Jesuits didn't take part in the writing of it. And
Yeah.
I'm talking about all the law dictionaries, all the statutes, all the codes, everything you can imagine, those people had a hand in it. And if it didn't suit their agenda, they just didn't publish it or they didn't allow it to be written.
Uh, so
There's controls that you can't even imagine.
since I've disrupted your thought process on that stuff, um, can you talk to us about getting a Pacer account?
You just apply for it, but you got to pay for that.
Okay.
But I don't know why you'd want it.
All right.
That's my own personal opinion. You
Well,
know,
I don't.
I got
I
this.
mean,
I got the thing. Let me tell you this. I got the Pacer account because it allowed me to go into the database where all the documents that were being filed in the court system were accessible.
uh huh.
And I was using the electronic filing system with the specific courts I was dealing with for, maybe 10 years. But all my original stuff for the first 30, 40 years of my law stuff, everything was hard filed into court. I got the stamp right on it. And some of the stuff I filed wasn't accepted by the clerk, and I put a big demand file stamp right on the top of it. I got the clerk's name, and I handed it to him. I said, "Hey, you better file that thing." And I always got confirmation that it had been filed. So this is not just an exercise in what you think you like or you want to do. This was my security in my own life, in my own personal walk, to
These are my
create
hard drives.
scenarios that were examples for other people if they wanted to follow and get their own enlightenment. But I never hesitated when it came to the system. I was always on the front door. Here I am. I'll tell you what, I filed a document once that got taped to the front door of the Superior Courthouse after hours with a copy. And you know what? They mailed me the stamp filed copy. So if you think you don't have power in this system, you do. And the system knows where the sovereignty is located. They just don't want people to find out and to exercise it. That scares the crap out of them. And that's when they're all getting ready to go down if they haven't already. And so all I'm bringing you guys are things that I did because I could and I was willing and I took the steps. You're in a time now where it's irrelevant because everything's getting ready to go belly up, and all your rights and everything that was existing 50 years ago are going to be in your face, and you're going to be getting notice to come down and apply for your exemption for your car, or your allodial title for your property, or you're going to get a huge deposit in your quantum account, whatever the hell that's going to be, for all the money that you paid into the system. It's all going to come back to you if you happen to be a citizen with the right standing. Because there's a lot of people here don't get this. You know, if you're from another country or you've got some alien citizenship you're trying to enforce here, you're not part of that. But just keep that in mind. I know where all this stuff's at, and I know where it's going. I can see where it's at, and you're either on board or you're not. And if you're not, that's okay too. I'm not
Well,
going to fight with you or argue with you about it.
I
So let me
I
give you what you need, what you asked for.
I just think this is a good time for Salty to come back in. She just wanted to rebuild the library of so that
Uh huh.
people could research it and like 15 or 20-minute bites that's
Okay.
usable
Well, we
and
already
digestible.
we
And
already talked about that.
we okay. So
We talked
you've
about it
already
this
covered
morning,
that. I know she's on the
and
call now.
I got
And
my assignment. I got my assignment from Salty, and that's I've been talking to you guys in lieu of my assignment. But guess what? I'm retired, and my
yeah,
only responsibilities at the moment outside of the universe is my wife and my chickens and my dogs and the horse and the kitty cats, and looking forward to moving down the road to a freehold, a Lodium 100% separate piece of property from the universe, and I know where all that's going, and it's going to be an amazing situation experience for us because I've owned properties and my wife never has, and so she's going to have a beautiful experience of being able to build a place from ground up that is hers, and ain't nobody going to come in and say anything about anything. And we're going to be doing it all according to all the principles we know has to do with clean air, clean water. No, you're not going to throw your shit in the wrong place. And by the way, you know what that word means?
No.
manure.
Yeah? No. It means ship high in transit. That's
Oh,
funny. Yeah.
SHIT, ship
And
high transit. Okay.
ship high in transit. You know why they
Yeah.
put that
Yeah.
on the containers? They put it on all the
No.
shipping containers at the docks to make sure that the manure, which was the fertilizers that were being put on the ships, didn't get buried in the hole for
Yeah.
shipping. And the
Yeah.
reason is because when you put that stuff in a closed, confined space and it starts to
Gases have no
build
place to go. Yeah.
methane is very explosive. And they
Yeah.
lost some ships and they couldn't figure out what the hell happened.
Uh,
And I don't know how many ships it took before somebody said, wait a minute, I know what did this. And what did they do? They made sure that all those containers that had manure on them had this great big stamp on the side of it that said, shit,
Yeah.
ship high in transit. Don't put it in the
Yeah.
hole.
I thought this
Yeah.
was a car hauler joke.
Look it up on the internet. It'll tell you. The
I
story's
will.
there, and you can't
I will.
misunderstand what's being said.
I
I
will.
posted that. I posted that on the Truth Social channel after I did a whole big dialogue on people in their shit.
Yep.
Okay, and and then and I got a whole bunch of hits and saying, man, that was funny as because I was talking about people's responsibility in life, and be responsible for your own shit. A whole bunch of other little words that fit along with that, and events that everybody has to deal with. Your karma's based on all the shit you did.
Yep.
You
What are you
give.
talking about? Talking about your own shit? What does
You
it
Yep.
mean? Ship high in transit, and it was about manure. I
you
didn't say
bring
a
new.
vulgar word.
Yeah. You bring new meaning to New World.
No kidding. But see, I got a real good dry sense of humor. and that comes from another place in time, and many lifetimes of doing, I guess, the crazy stuff I'm doing. Because I know I was a senator in Rome, along with this
Wow.
president thing, and along with being Hamilton writing the Federalist Papers and the Constitution, which I've rewritten 3 different times. Because there's
Wow.
just things in there. There are things in there that won't belong in the fifth realm as we're moving. We may not even need a constitution, guys, because the people that are migrating into this reality are all going to be completely, totally, 100% responsible in everything in their life. They're not going to trespass. They're not going to violate on other people's rights because they're going to know what they are.
How
And
are
they
they going to
just won't.
know that?
Well, do you know?
No, not right this second. I don't know
Well,
everything because
how are you going to
I
find out?
haven't. I'm going to
Let
have to
me
go
ask you
through a
something.
process, like
Well,
you
let me ask you a
said. Just
question. Let me ask you a
go ahead.
question. Let me
Go
ask you a
ahead.
question. Okay. Do you have the right to travel?
I do.
Does that mean you got to get
Because
permission?
no, I don't. Because
Well, then why you got to have a license? Are you
well,
responsible when you're driving?
yes,
Do you recognize the common sense rules? You don't make a left turn in front of oncoming traffic.
yes.
Okay. You don't drive over the posted speed limit, even if you can. It's okay. But would you have to get a ticket if you were in a safe zone where you could drive 5 or 10 miles over and still be safe?
Well, how would you know if you were in a safe zone?
That's just it. See, you're the only one that'll know. If you run
Oh,
over somebody, if you run over somebody and that somebody just happened to jump off the curb in front of you, is that your problem? No, it'd be
no.
his karma, whoever did it. They're stupid. But see, they've
Yeah,
actually created laws, rules, and regulations that control the common sense activities of the average person.
absolutely. Yeah,
And
they
that's the
have.
part I'm talking about. And you don't need license when you learn what the responsible things in your life are and the things you know you're not supposed to violate. You don't violate someone else's life, liberty, or property any more than you'd want them to do it to you.
Absolutely.
And that's the private side, the private nature of all of us. I have the right to my life, my liberty, my property. I have the right to travel in a conveyance of my choosing, so long as I don't violate anybody else's right. If I don't go on running over other people and bumping into their cars and stuff, well, it's pretty obvious I'm either an idiot, I don't know what my rights are, and I don't care about anybody else's. Well, I'm not going to be
Yeah.
in this reality we're talking about here. See, I'm talking about those souls that have migrated to this point in their existence where they're capable of understanding the true nature of who and what they are and what their relationship should be with all the other souls that are here. That's the lesson.
Yeah.
And so don't tell me you don't know what those things are.
Well, there's a lot of people that don't know all of that stuff too.
Then they're not gonna be in this reality because there's going to be a whole a wave that's going to go over the land, however you want to look at that, that's going to move those souls that are not ready for this into their own reality for another trip around the wheel.
Oh,
And
wow.
they may even go back into another lifetime or two in the golden age in another frequency and all of a sudden be reincarnated into this reality. There's
Yeah.
so much,
Wow.
there's so many different possibles that are existing in all of this that I couldn't even begin to give you all the scenarios. But your number one job right now is to, if you choose to accept this assignment, young lady, is to spend that little quiet time with and listen to yourself. Ask yourself a question. What do I need to do to resolve this problem or face this issue or overcome this deal? Or whatever it might be. And then wait for the response. See if you get an answer. Because I got news for you. Most of the things that I'm talking about in this reality, you already have cognizance of. You just haven't had the experience to be able to step into it and get the confirmation.
Yeah.
And that's what this exercises are all about. What are you afraid of in life? Oh, you can't tell the IRS where to go. Really? I did more than that.
Yeah, you did.
And so,
You have. I just admire you so much because you had the courage to to stand up to all of the government the way it was.
yeah, but see,
I don't know that I have that in me right this minute, but
if
I'm
you
going
have
to
it,
try.
well, you don't have to try, just do it. Just stand up
Yeah.
and say, help. Universe, I'm going over here, and then find out if you're going to get in trouble or not. I tell people, I can't deal with the IRS. Why don't you call the IRS and set up an appointment and go and walk into their room and take that 8233 form and put it on the counter and ask them to fill it out for you. Huh? What are you afraid of? That's just another soul sitting there doing what they think is their job. Well, why don't you give them something to look at that is pertinent to who you truly are in the system? To see, that whole thing was about getting rid of that U.S. subject taxpayer status, citizen of the
Yeah.
U.S.
Mhm.
And what do they say you have to be? You're calling yourself, once you're calling yourself a resident alien of the United States. Why? Because you may be resident within the jurisdiction, but you're not a citizen of it. You just cut the string with that form. All of
Yeah.
a sudden you're having to look at yourself, wait a minute. I'm supposed to be a state citizen and a sovereign, and yet I'm filling out this form that says I'm a non-resident alien? Uh, that's crazy. Well, you didn't think they were going to put citizens of a state in there, did you? No, they
Well,
know what the
they
sovereignty's at.
couldn't
No,
put that in there and
no,
then
they
do what they're
couldn't.
doing.
But you had to be willing to fill out that form and get the understanding that I just told you.
Right.
That form specifically relieves you of the you're the one that filled out the 1040. You have to get rid of your election, and you have to do it under a penalty of perjury.
I'll
And
be
it has to
honest with
go.
you. I dealing with crypto right now. I needed to get a wallet, and every wallet made you go sign up for that for paying taxes. And I would not do it. I have not done it yet because I will not sign up to say I'm going to pay taxes again. I'm
Then why would you?
volunteering.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
won't. I
But you
won't.
haven't volunteered out. You haven't opted out.
I need to opt out. Yeah, I need to.
You opt,
But I
and
don't.
right
I
now,
still don't know how I'm going to get a wallet unless they start changing the way they're treating
what's
us.
a wallet?
It's a wallet to put your crypto in, so that it's not just
Really?
sitting out there.
Do you
Yeah.
do you see? I'll tell you what. Do you have any idea who created crypto?
No, I don't.
CIA.
Probably the CIA. I was going to say probably the CIA.
And why? They already got rid
Why?
of our golden
For
silver.
their benefit. For their benefit.
Okay, it was their ability to transfer things, numbers, around all over the world without it being tracked or traced.
Right. Okay.
Okay, because remember something, the White Hats have been involved in recovering our sovereignty for quite some time, and when Trump came on board, that was the beginning of the end for them. And they had been doing a whole lot of stuff up to that point, all the way from a revolution to try and convolute, confuse, hide, cover up, and kill those who discovered truth, so that nobody else would figure this thing out.
Oh.
And what they don't realize, and what they didn't know, what they couldn't possibly comprehend is they've all been here before, and they've all been involved in this stuff before, and they've all come into this life and been duped into becoming a really bad person, which is what they really are. And a lot of them have lizard or reptilian ties,
Yeah.
as we do. We
Yeah.
do.
Well, I'm
Did you
sure
ever
we
look at?
do, but
Did you? I'll give you something. Did you ever look at the X-rays or whatever you want to call it of the birth of a human, and as it begins to grow in the womb? There's a
yeah,
there's
I have seen
one
them. Yeah.
there's one particular time period in there in the growth process that there's it looks like a lizard tail on it.
Well, I
Never
haven't
seen that,
seen
huh?
that one. No,
I
I
have.
haven't seen that one.
And it's like, oh wow, we got some genetic throwbacks here in our genealogy that's evidence of previous times and who knows what vehicle we were in.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you
Well,
something right
well,
now.
I'm,
In
you
spite
know,
of what
all the
you've
way
been
back.
told,
Okay, go ahead.
in spite of
Yeah.
what you've been told, what you've been led to believe, we are right now in this frame, in this vehicle. We're the sum total of everything we've ever been. Your mineral, your vegetable, animal. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. We have all of
So
that
we've
in us. We're like
we've
65% water.
Yeah, well, we migrated through all of these realities from our inception. Wherever that may have happened, however may it happen, doesn't matter. Nothing to argue about here. It's just that you're in this reality now, and there's evidence in you that you've been everything already. So
Yeah.
now it's
Yeah.
time. Now it's time to take up that part of you that was the vehicle for all this to happen, which is your, let's say, your soul body. You're going to become acquainted with it at some point in this process, if you haven't already. And some people, they have all kinds of out of body experiences. I had a crazy one, boy. Talk about a wake up call. And it's like, wow, this really is, it does work. It is true. There's no doubting it. Why? Because I experienced it. It was like the little kid sticking his hand in the fire. Yeah, it's hot. No doubt about it anymore. So there's experiences that you're going to have based on how much you're willing to do all those little things in your life that you were afraid to do, things you didn't want to talk about or afraid to address. That's what gives you that window of opportunity and builds your stamina and your environment. You're going
I
to be
am one
blown away.
that I am one that does not like confrontations.
Yeah.
Um, so I avoid anything that is
Mm-hmm.
going to be confrontational. And I've done that
Yeah.
my whole life. Well, yesterday, for the first time, I picked up the phone and I called Lowe's and I gave them ultimatums that I never would have done that before either, but I did.
Wow. Looks like you got some reoccurring re-education from another place in time and existence that you may have been involved in the previous lifetime as a control freak.
Do you think maybe I was? Wow.
I don't,
But I
there's no
see, I've
question in my
never,
mind.
boy, I never want confrontation ever.
Oh
That's
yeah,
me.
you've been a real control freak at some point in your existence, which is why you're having the complete negative opposite of the very problem.
Oh, wow.
This is just evidence for you. See, when you begin to learn and understand the principles of who and what you are, you look at the mirror and you say, why do I don't want this? Why did I have a problem with that? You know, I get this nice feeling in my solar plexus whenever I see somebody fall down and land on their knees. I haven't got the picture yet. Where exactly does that emanate from? But I know I've got a previous lifetime somewhere where that specific event is still inside me as an example yet to come to the surface. And right now, I'm going through this knee issue that calcification, toxic buildup, whatever you want to call it. And I had a what they call a fatty tumor in my left knee, which kept me out of the Vietnam War. So that was kind of a blessing for that particular issue. And but now I'm dealing with this ongoing semi, um, let's just call it semi-painful. It's not debilitating in any way, shape,
Is
or
it in your
form.
joints or your bones or
It's right in no, it's right in the joints, and I know it's there for a reason, and I'll come to it when the time is right. In the meantime, I've changed my diet. I got on the good water. I've taken supplements. I'm doing all the good stuff, and I'm spiritually awake. And so I'm not complaining. I look at things from a whole different perspective than most people.
well,
These are the little things.
one thing about that, I've been doing a lot of research on things that are natural that will help you or hurt you. One of the things that I have learned is that parasites will gravitate to your joints.
Yeah, but see, those
You know,
parasites have a frequency.
yeah, I'm sure they do.
Now, I'm going to give you a big piece to this whole thing. Those frequencies that I tell you about that emanate from you, they're
Uh-huh.
also prevalent in every other molecule in existence. Once you begin to change your attitude and your responses to those things in your life that you don't like and don't want to do, those frequencies of whatever it is you're having an issue with will go away. And what you're in the process of experiencing is the frequency. Can you imagine what the frequency of the soul body might be?
Uh,
Well,
no, but
it
pretty
isn't something
high
you can
maybe.
it isn't something you can taste, smell, touch, or see. Not going to be visible to the three, four worlds or the people here who are trying to create all of this artificial intelligence to remedy all of these ailments that people have acquired over their incarnations that are now creating their negative responses and the negative frequencies that are allowing themselves to be in a state of uncertainty, fear, pain, and all the other elements that go with it. You're a being of God. That means everything is in you already. And now you're learning how to be a vehicle to help other people to come to that realization. And all you can be is an example. Jesus knows this principle. He learned it the hard way, which is how most of us get there.
Yeah.
You can't go around telling people that you can help them without them wanting to know how to fix themselves. Because if you're going to stick your nose in someone else's karma, you're going to get the boot and you're going to have the same experiences and you're not going to relieve them of their karma because they didn't learn the lesson. They have no idea what caused it and they're not willing to change it. And if they don't know that, guess what? They just get to go through it again until they finally get to that realization. Oh, you're a bad person in life. Who said? My tax collector. Why?
Yeah.
Because you won't abide by the law. Really? What law is that? Uh, and I can show you where all the laws are and why they don't apply to you. So it's irrelevant though. The point I'm getting at is that this frequency thing is more than the average person's capable of digesting.
It
Average
is
person,
because
I
you don't
said.
see it. You can't
I know
see
you
it.
don't, and you can't
And
smell it, and you can't taste
n-
it.
no.
Yeah, all you can do is
So it's really
experience it.
hard.
All you
Yeah,
can do
you
is
have to experience it. Yeah.
exactly. So the exercises are not complicated. I gave them to you. It's just a matter of you being willing to sit quietly and engage in it once in a while. You don't even have to do it
Well,
every day. And I'll tell
I'm
you
going to do it.
the other important part is whether you can do a food fast on occasion and get on some really good water. And if you don't know what that is, salty will fill you in.
Okay, she knows.
Oh yeah, we talked about it.
Okay, good.
I'll let her be your vehicle for that stuff. If she needs more
Okay.
answers, I don't know what to tell her. I already gave her the website and all that, so no big
Well,
deal.
what
But the fasting is
is
very
there a
important.
machine you have to get to put your water through or something?
It's a yeah, it's a simple device, and all you do, you never have to replace it. Once you buy one, that's it. You might have to clean it once in a while with a little vinegar, but as far as the principle of it and what it does is it reduces the water to a very small molecular structure so that it will absorb into your cells, including the brain cell barrier, and
Wow.
it flushes toxins and it hydrates your whole system.
Oh, wow.
And if you're a farmer and you get your crops on this stuff, you ought to see the trees that my wife has bought here over the last 2 months. We got a whole forest growing back here. We got to move them all and take them where we're going to go. But they immediately got on the good water. The first thing that happened to them, they started dropping their old leaves, and all of a sudden, there's a whole new life coming out of these guys. And she
Well,
reads the plants. She spends time with them. She talks to them, and they talk back. And and I go, she says, "Look at this." And I'm, wow, that's pretty cool, man. This guy's got buds who didn't have buds before. the fruit showing up that there was not even a semblance. There was a bunch of brown leaves and stuff, and all of a sudden the tree got here and dropped all those leaves, transplanted them into a bigger pot, and started giving them this water. Oh my God, they're all going like, whoopee!
Well,
20%
I
increase.
honestly believe that because I've
20
been have I've had a
20%
garden. You go
20%
ahead.
increase in a crop.
Wow.
20%. But listen, there's a principle that goes with this. And some of the farmers from biblical times and even from our own country during the dust storms and stuff, they were violating one of the primary elements of survival for the plant kingdom. You have to take the energy that comes from the sun that enters into the plant that comes out in the form of the fruit. And you have to turn that under at least every seventh growing cycle.
Yeah.
You got to turn it under. What do you mean?
Yeah.
You heard what I said.
You got to
I
put it
didn't
back
say
in the
eat it.
soil. Let it,
That's
yeah, put
right.
it
You
back
got
in
to
the
turn it
soil.
under. Turn it under.
Absolutely. Hmm.
And what happens is the next crop, and I'll tell you the evidence of this I saw with my own eyes in Hawaii. You know, they grow pineapple, or they used to before Dole took over. They used to grow their pineapples on the Big Island, and no, it wasn't a Big Island. It's the other island on Oahu. Uh, and so Waikiki Beach and all that stuff. And so we did the tour around, and we'd come into this one area where all the fields of pineapple were out there. And you take a look, and they were in stages. There was little, a little bigger, and then the big. And I'm like, oh, look at this. We got different stages of growing going on here. And I got a hold of one of the planters there, and I said, well, hey, you guys, what kind of a planting cycle you guys have going here? Well, we pick the crop, the biggest ones, and then we turn the rest of them under once every 7 years. Oh, wow. Yeah, and guess what? Every year we get this huge crop because we rotate the areas where we do the turn under. So when you're turning that one section under every year, you're going to have, and it's say you got it laid out in a 7 year cycle period, you're going to have at least one whole section that's huge, fruit, sweet, and full of nutrients every year. Why? Because you're doing the preparation every year with 1/7 of your crop. That's
Yeah.
a
That sounds
principle that,
great.
yeah, well, that's the nature of our food supplies in this reality. And that's what should be going on with all these farmers and everything, but instead they're putting Roundup on it and all this fictitious
I know
garbage,
they're
and
poisoning the
everybody's,
soil.
yeah, no, they're poisoning all the people intentionally. Ha.
And yeah, and the people, the soil and the people. Yeah.
Yeah, the people, that's their main
Because it,
goal. Kill as many
yep,
people here as possible right now.
absolutely. And that's what the air and the water,
Yeah.
they're to see I have no way to get rid of the poisons that are coming from supposedly nature. Um, like my water. I have city water, and that's what I have to
Oh yeah.
use for watering my
All you
garden.
all you need is one of these little hose jobs. It's about almost $600 for one unit, but it's a one-time buy. It never goes
Yeah.
bad. It's a lifetime. It's got crystals in it.
Well, it sounds
Crystals
good.
change
It
the crystals as the water runs through it. The 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 crystals change the frequency of all the contaminants that are in your water.
Oh, so it's not a filter. It actually changes the molecular content or something?
Exactly. It changes the frequencies of those negative elements that have been dumped into your water system.
Okay.
Now, if you got some kind of a sediment issue, if you got rocks or something coming through there, you want to neutralize that. Well, put a sediment filter on it before the crystal filter. Let me tell you something. I went through this whole gambit with the water because when
Okay.
I first met my wife, she had a bunch of sick horses, sick dogs, sick chickens. It was a mess. and
And
that was
sick
down in
people too,
California.
probably.
Oh boy. And I'd already switched over some of my water systems, okay? Although it wasn't to where I was yet to go. I started looking on the internet and I went through, I found, oh, there's this reverse osmosis thing. Well, what does that do? Nothing. It wastes a whole lot of water and removes everything from the water, and you got nothing. It's dead water.
Yeah, it's dead water. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like distilled. The same thing. It's dead water.
Microwave does the same thing. It becomes
Exactly. Well,
dead
you don't want
water.
anything. You don't want any go anywhere near a microwave for
Right,
anything.
right.
So,
Absolutely. I've given
so,
them up.
so I discovered this uh, water. The water solutions one I just now got associated with. I haven't bought one of these units yet, but I did buy the other one, which is the Wellness Enterprise. The Wellness Enterprise. That's the website.
Salty posted that in the room, by the way.
How
I
about
just
that?
saw it. She just posted it.
How about that? So all you guys are getting hooked up with some really good stuff to help you out of this 3D reality that we've all been sucked into, or we all had to go through. Who knows how many times? And we're moving into another realm, which is going to be clean air, clean water, clean food, all these things. Because why? Because we're cleaning up.
Yeah.
And so these harmful frequencies that we're moving into won't be able to transfer into that reality because the frequencies in the 5D are neutralizing to all the frequencies below it.
Huh. I'll have to think
You
about
can't play
that.
you can't play football if you're only 2 years old. You got to come back and grow a little because all you do is walk out on the field and get dead instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the process. We're going through this metamorphosis. Is Salty online, or is she still hiding in
It
the
shows
bushes?
that it shows she's there, but I don't know if
Ooh,
she's there or not. I guess
crazy.
maybe she
Well,
might say something if she
Yeah,
is. Salty, are you there?
I'm kind of touch and go. So I've been following it, and then then it'll blink off. But anyway, I refreshed the computer, so I'm on my phone trying to get in. So kind of here and there.
Okay. We
So
appreciate you
I
put that link down there.
Yeah,
all
I
right.
got
That's
that, and
perfect.
I think I got the docs made, and the one about who are we to get them started. I did the trespassing doc, and then we can all go over the docs and make sure that that's what our taskmaster, because we're all his little tools. I think we're over here in his
Yeah.
toolbox. That is correct, and then we can march out and learn ourselves and carry everybody along with us
Okay.
if they want to. And if they
Yeah.
don't, like Mason says, it doesn't matter. They can go do it
Don't matter.
again. It doesn't matter.
Sooner or later. Yeah. Sooner or later, you'll get around to it.
Yep.
Okay.
So
But
whatever they
you
want to do.
have. Do you have both the Nevada and the California seal on those
I
two on the
just got the
trespassing?
Nevada one. I didn't see the California one.
Well, I didn't send the California one.
Or maybe
See,
that's why I don't have it.
I'm living in Nevada, and all the stuff I've done over the course of my time was in California. So I had no reason to engage Nevada until I was forcibly moved here. And now I'm going into Nevada and I'm looking at all their stuff, and it's like this place is a mess. It's not even a state.
Oh my
Ha
goodness.
ha ha. And and so if somebody trying to tell me they want to be a national, I say, how are you going to be a national? Oh, you might want to move to Nevada. There are a bunch of nationals over there. That's not even a state. And there's a bunch of states supposedly that were never properly ratified by qualified citizens. That's crazy. Yeah, after the revolution, I mean, after the Civil War, there's a bunch of this, and that. See, that's what got me interested in um, what's her name?
Annabon
Because she
Rights?
brought yeah
No?
Anna, because she
Yeah?
she brought up she brought up the very issue of how you fix the states that aren't states yet. There's got to be an election by the qualified freeholder white males, citizens. I'm like, that's cool. And then all of a sudden she jumped off into this national garbage. I don't know where that came from. Don't care. I know what it leads to, and it leads to confusion. and that all of that stuff was birthed out of a bunch of lizard, reptilian, Jesuit statute codes rules that are all titles under the U.S. government baloney, from Title I all the way up. So you got to get back to the roots, guys. The
Well,
foundation is
what
where it's
about
found.
what about the state assemblies that she talks about?
What about it? I don't know nothing
Uh,
about it.
oh,
I
so
don't know what
they
these
that
people are doing. I just know
yeah,
that
okay.
when they start publishing stuff that's a non-truth, there's a problem. And I had somebody very close to me, personal, who joined their group and got the finger because they wouldn't help him with a ticket.
Wow.
He got the ID and the plates on the car and all this recorded stuff and everything, and he got a traffic citation, and he had to go into court, and he was asking for help. He called me, and I said, I'd be more than happy to help you, guy, but you know what? You need to turn to the group that got you in the situation you're sitting in. I don't know what they're going to do, but I know one thing: he never got remedy because they didn't want to talk to him after that little situation. Now that kind of put a kind of a dirty taste in my mouth, if you want to call it that. So I had nothing to do with her after that. And I tried to reach out to her and have discussions and talk about things. And Jim shows up, and I find out he's a mouthpiece for her in a lot of different ways. So that's cool, man, because at least now I get to talk to her a proxy. And
Through
so,
him, yeah.
yeah, when I saw that Title 8 document that Salty posted, and it's in such small print I can't even hardly read it. But I'm looking, and all of a sudden I see Title 8, Section 1101, definitions. I know about that. So what they did was they redefined certain very specific words and misstated what they were. They call them people one thing when they're something else. In their code, in their code, a a what? A national is a citizen of a state. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. That code doesn't apply to me. That was created out of some felonious naturalization activities that they were trying to confuse everybody so they wouldn't have an issue about becoming a citizen of the U.S. I'm like, oh boy. Because they already messed up the naturalization laws. And if you guys are really interested in digging into this primary issue of naturalization, I'll show you exactly where to go and I'll walk you through it. Because it's not rocket science. It's clear right on the face of the acts of Congress when they did it in 1790. First Congress. So you can read it yourself, and you'll see it. And then when you read the case law that supports what I'm telling you, it's like, what are you going to argue about? The courts ain't even recognizing the fact that Congress has no power to naturalize, and that there's no such thing as a citizen of the U.S. Well, if there's no such thing as a citizen of the U.S., there's no such thing as a state national either, because it's not in our Constitution anywhere. That was somebody's opinion written that was taken from an act of Congress that had no validity in it in the first place. It was just a bunch of convoluted crap, which is 90% of everything that's been written in this country for the last, how many years? Since at least first Congress.
160, 170, something like that.
Okay. Start from 1790 and work your way to now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just happen to know where all these little bodies are buried, and for those that are have a half awake and know how to read, they'll be able to connect the dots. I mean, you know what your last name is, but do you know 100% without any question in your mind who your mother and father were? Your 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 actual, true, living, genetic, DNA connected mother and father? Do you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Are you
do.
sure? How do you know?
Yeah. Well, because they had me.
They did. Are you
My
are you
mother,
sure?
yeah.
How do you know? What's the
Well,
absolute 1,000% proof that you are genetically from those your mother and father? How do you know that?
well, I guess nobody knows, but
Yes, you do. You
them,
can
but
find out.
them.
No, no,
Oh,
no. All you'd have to do is get a DNA test.
Oh, okay.
That's it. That's the end of the question. But see,
Yeah, I guess
I'm
that's
using
true.
this I'm using this as a simple example to show you that there are things in your life that you've been told, that you've led to believe, and you would be probably willing to bet your whole life on the fact that what you were told is true
Yeah,
without any evidence.
right.
Okay,
You're right about that. I
I
do.
know I am. That's why I bring it
Yeah,
up. That's why I bring it
yeah,
up. So
yeah,
quit just believing what you've been told and look for the evidence. Follow the evidence. Have you ever watched that CSI thing, that Criminal Mind thing that was going
yeah,
on in the early
yeah,
two?
yeah.
Well, it's a funny thing, but um, there's a whole bunch of really good examples that are existing in those videos that were those movies or whatever you want to call them were made, those sitcom things that are true life about the lizards or the reptilian side of our system and the rules and things that they created for people to follow. And some people got the idea. Yeah. And what is this about? About follow opinion? No, it's about follow the evidence.
Yeah,
And if you don't have the evidence, absolute 1,000% true, then you don't have any evidence. You can't say nothing, squat diddly about what you think is true or not. And that's what people have been caught up
yeah,
in the opinions of entities that don't have your best interest at heart, or anybody else's for that matter. It's a one game, one man show from their side of it. You're just a problem that's trying to find a way to get out from underneath their authority. And they keep
well,
digging bigger
yeah,
and bigger and putting up bigger and bigger little hills for you to have to climb over. And they figure, well, if we stay in power, which they were about to do, Hillary would have been the last nail in our coffin.
absolutely.
Okay, and but it didn't happen. Why? Because we were moving to the golden age from that iron age, and it was time for those frequencies of all those control freaks to be set aside, and that's what happened. And now we've actually transferred ourselves, if you want to call it that, or metamorphosis is what's going on here, into this next frequency, which is part of the golden age that we're all going to to take part in. We're going to be able to, and have an amazing time now. But not everybody's going to make the grade. That's the
So
test.
are you saying that we'll move into it, but like maybe our sister might not, or somebody
That's
we
a that
know might not?
that's a fact. That's a fact, and I can't change that. That's not up to me. I just see what I
Even
see.
one, even our children might not.
That's a fact. I got a whole family that got vaccinated.
Hey, I do
My
too.
wife, my wife has a whole family that got vaccinated. Now, what do you think is going to happen? And I'm not saying all of them got vaccinated with the vaccine. They may have got the sugar shot
That's
because
what I heard.
there were a lot of people that were in the blue states where they didn't want to kill off those people who were already their proven subject slaves. They didn't want to kill all them people. They wanted them to carry the ball and be able to convince all these other unconscious people that their way was the right way, whatever it might be. Yeah, pay
Yeah,
your taxes and be a good little slave. Okay,
yeah,
all right, but that's another issue. And so even people that got the sugar shot, they're going to die of some other ailment because they haven't got it. They're not capable of standing on the firing line and getting the ball hiked and then running through a bunch of really bad scenarios.
yeah,
That's what we're talking about. And it's not going to be
yeah,
bad. See, that's the beautiful part about right now. If your heart is in the right place and you're willing to step up and deal with these things that are in your face right now, you're going to develop that protective cloak that's ready for you once you step into it. This is your
yeah.
choice, nobody else's. And you're not going to be able to just all of a sudden manifest something because you think you have a right to it. That's not how it works.
Well, I've never been able to manifest anything, so I don't think anyway. I might have, but I don't
Honey,
think I don't know of
listen.
it.
Oh yes, you have. You manifested everything in your life that you're connected with, associated with, and that are having to deal with right now. It's all of your
Oh,
making,
okay.
nobody else's. You did it all by yourself.
So I
You're
have
a master.
manifested things.
You're a master builder. You just don't know it.
Okay. Yeah, that's
If
it.
you
I don't
say
know it.
what you say is what you have.
Yeah.
If you're negative and all you can say is I can't, I don't, I won't, and I'm afraid, guess what? That's what you get.
Well, I
Read
don't
read
say
the
that. I don't
read that
say
book
that.
of Job. Read
Yeah,
that
I
book of Job. It's
have.
pretty
I
clear.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is he afraid of? Yeah, all the things that he said he's afraid of. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when are you going to shut up?
Yeah.
Shut up, be quiet, and don't say anything. You'll be a whole lot ahead of the game. And then
Yeah. Well, he
listen
lost
to him.
everything, but then he got everything back.
Yeah, why? What happened?
I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember what actually happened between him
Here,
losing everything and getting it all back.
whether you have evidence of what he said or did, if those are the truth about what happened to him, then he changed his attitude about that fear thing inside of him and started addressing the very things he was afraid of.
Okay.
That's the key.
Okay. Got to address it. Got to face
Afraid
it.
of nothing. Be afraid of nothing.
Yeah, you
Be
got to face
anxious
it.
for be anxious for nothing.
Yeah, God said that. Or
Don't
Jesus said
have the
that.
don't want don't want for anything.
Yeah.
Want is
Yeah.
that's the hopes to receiving things that you don't have, but you surely will regret having asked for them.
Oh, really?
However many lifetimes it takes, you're going to find out. And these are the things in your life right now that you have in your face. Don't want to be dealt with in a superior way. Oh, really? Okay. And sometimes the law of reverse effort comes into full focus. A lot of people deal with that. They just don't know it.
The law
If you
of
could
reverse
manifest,
effort. So that means
yep,
you're doing something that is really not good for you.
no, no. That means that you
No?
could deal with something that you don't like or don't want by developing a fear for the things that you want.
I'd have to write that down and look at it.
Or you don't want to deal with that because that's a trick.
Yeah.
It's a catch. You don't want to get your mind looking at something that you are really interested in and create a negative by saying you don't want it.
Okay.
Because when you don't want something, it comes to you. That's what Job had to deal with. All the things he didn't want, he got. Okay? And he didn't
Uh-huh.
exercise the law of reverse effort. He exercised the law of positive by no longer being afraid to address the things that he was afraid of. That's the key. You got to walk into that. Walk into the fear. Don't try and run from it. All you'll do, as the old saying goes, you can run and you can hide, but you'll only die tired.
Wow, you have got some really great wisdom words here.
I'm glad this is being recorded because I'm gonna have to go back and listen.
No, I don't know if it's, I didn't hit the
I'm
record
looking.
button.
I'm seeing
Is it
I
being
it's
did.
red.
recorded?
I did. I did.
Oh, thank you, Salty, because I didn't know if I should
Yeah.
record it or not. So
I,
I thought we were
Really,
going to
that was the whole
talk.
yeah.
idea.
We are.
We just,
Plus, I'm
we
taking
just,
notes. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
So
I'm taking notes. I am.
let's get to the exercise. We got the state seals on the no trespass on one of them. I can send you the California, but it's only evidence that I did it for two different states rather than one. The words are exactly the same. The only thing you want to add to that is the name and phone number of the person who claims the allodium to whatever that sign is connected to. Okay? because the sign says by appointment only.
and
So
give
how are they
the
gonna how are they gonna make an appointment if they don't have a contact information?
Yeah.
And all you're doing is putting a phone number up there. Now you can
okay,
answer the phone or not; it's your choice. You don't have to answer it. But if
and just
someone's calling that and they're in reference to that sign, that may be somebody you want to know because they're asking for assistance or help or information.
and
But you didn't put that sign up there to advertise anything because you're telling them, you better not trespass here without permission. Well, how am I going to get that? Well, here's the phone number. Call it. And then the person you're talking to will have they have the right to tell you, no, go away. And that's the end of it.
and what
Or,
does it? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
okay, I'm just telling you what your rights, you can put your personal information somewhere on your property, which is on that sign. They have to get close enough to the sign to be able to read it.
Yeah,
That means they most likely will already be trespassing at the point where they're looking at it close enough to be able to read your name and phone number. If you want your name, you don't have to. You just put the phone number.
but what if it changes though? If you said eggs for sale, because that's
Uh-huh.
commerce. That's
That's right.
commerce,
See that's a private contract you have with somebody you know,
not
some
just the
friend,
general
some
public. Not
associate.
uh
It
huh.
cannot be a general public advertisement because that's a licensable, regulatable activity. What's the Supreme Court case that deals with this?
I don't know.
It's posted. It's posted on the other group's website. In fact,
Salty's putting some stuff down there now.
I also
Active
posted it.
state 168 US 250, not
Yeah, yeah,
1897. Notice and
yeah,
warning.
yeah. Let
She's
me.
putting that in the room right now.
Yeah,
That's good.
that's Mason. Let's see. That's
I'm trying to
Mason's
think of.
stock.
I'm
That's
trying
what
to think of
Mason
the.
did.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of the court case, which is I can't believe I can't think of it. It's one of those very powerful cases that identifies the difference between the private rights and a corporation. Oh, geez, I almost had it. Anyway, when I think of it, I'll or I can go in. See, I'm not in the house because I'm outside because I lose signal when I go in there. I don't know why. But
Yeah.
anyway, um, oh man,
So, do we put the seal that of our state on
yeah, your
the
state,
no
your state,
trespassing?
yep,
Yeah.
your state,
On our no
and
trespassing sign, do we put it
you
there?
bet, right? Just like I should, like it's showing on the copy you got there, and as big as you can get it.
Oh.
But your sign or your sign says that says there it says trespassers beware, not no trespassing.
What does that mean? Trespassers beware.
Well, it does have different meaning, doesn't it?
No, if you're a trespasser, you can read this sign, beware.
Yes,
Does that mean you're in the wrong place at the wrong time?
probably.
Probably.
And doesn't it say down there by permission you must if you're going to want to talk to this person it's saying by permission only.
Call first, huh?
Exactly. And if you put a phone number there, they have an opportunity to call. But guess
Oh,
what?
uh huh.
They're already standing on foreign
Yeah,
soil if they can
they're,
read the sign.
they're already they've already violated your sanctity.
That's exactly right. So
Is it
you're giving people the opportunity to learn something that they may not have had a clue about
uh
until
huh?
that sign showed up.
For
So
sure.
have they violated my sanctity or my sovereignty?
Well, you can look at that any way you want. Are they
Okay.
somewhere where they don't belong and don't have a right to be?
Yes.
It may be a neighbor.
Yes.
Okay, and the neighbor's, oh my goodness, what's this about, guy? Hey there, Mister High Tide. What's going on over here?
Uh huh.
Oh, you want to know? Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna tell you something. the property that Janina and I are both already have acquired spiritually. We're getting ready to move in the next few months. Okay, I don't know how long it's going to take because we've been working on this now for about 6 months, but it's ours, and we have a very close friend who's also living there as our caretaker. And when I sent that sign to him, he's also done some crazy things. When I sent the sign posting, I didn't tell him anything. He went and copied it on his computer, printed it out, and put it in plastic things and took it out and put it on both the front gates and the front door of the house without me saying a word.
Wow.
Okay? And he called, we were talking, he says, "Oh man, that was great." He says, "I've already posted those." I said, "Oh wow." Johnny on the spot. But I didn't tell him to put a phone number or anything down yet. But the point I'm getting at is that some people automatic when they look at that sign, they're going like, "Oh my God, what's this about? Oh, foreign soil. What do you mean by foreign soil? Can anyone of you guys give me an idea what that might represent?"
Outside
Uh,
the District
another
of Columbia.
state, another, yeah, foreign soil, another country or something.
Anything other than what? Yelodial? That property that you're identifying is the United States of America, literally, and the state of your citizenship, literally, that the people have the allodium title to across the board. See, all these places that have been set aside for some government function, it still belongs to the sovereignty. The people still have the right to enter those places because they don't belong to somebody other than the sovereignty. And if you're a government employee, guess who has the right to walk into that building, armed or otherwise? The sovereignty. The king doesn't have to go around and ask permission to enter all these places that he owns, including his barons and subjects. And there's been a lot of controversy about this. Well, if you don't pay the king his tax, guess what? He's going to go collect it in any way he wants. And I don't care if you got to knock the castle gate down that you're living in. He still has the right to go in there and do it because you didn't object in the first place. You gave this guy his sovereignty and his right to do what he wants to do. Just because he's not doing something you like, that don't mean you don't have the right to do it. Did you watch Braveheart?
I did.
That's a good
Yeah,
movie.
I saw that.
And I happen to have a very close friend who knows he was the guy on the bench getting his guts ripped out by the guy who is now his father.
Oh,
Wow.
So there's all kinds of little bits and pieces to this scenario that you guys are going to have fun with when you start getting these little wake ups. And they're all available, and everybody's going to have an opportunity to wherever they're at based on what they've done and what they're willing to do and where they're willing to go. They're going to find out things about themselves they had no idea. And nobody else on this planet can tell you and give you the reality that is true or not other than you. And I'll tell you how that happened. He went to see Braveheart. He saw the movie, sitting in the auditorium, in the theater,
The
and all of a sudden, he saw this event that began to unfold in front of his eyes. He started bawling.
Oh
He
my
broke down
God.
right there in the middle of the theater. And I'm talking to him. I said, "And what did you get by that?" He said, "Oh my God." He said, "I knew I was the one on the table. And I know that my father now was the king who was doing it to me."
Wow.
He said it all came to me in this unbelievable moment of awakening. He got the pictures in his own consciousness. He knew in that moment what the relationship was between his present dad, who sent him off down to the jungles in Bogota to learn how to survive or die.
Wow.
It's crazy stuff. I mean, the events that I'm telling you about, they're real true life experiences for those that went through it.
Yeah.
And I've been through similar scenarios. And you're going to find out, you're going to have realizations of similar things as you go through this process if you're willing, ready, capable of withstanding the shock therapy that's coming. Oh, man.
Well, all I know is that I want to know it all.
Hey, goody, goody. So you're on the list, kiddo, by your own
Yeah.
words.
Yes, I do. I mean, I used to pray to God, show me it all. I want to know. I want
Yeah,
to know what this government is all about. I want to know who's good, who's bad. I
yeah.
want to know why are we going through this?
You were talking to
They
the
are,
power that you were talking to the
yeah.
power that was created by your thoughts and your
Okay.
statements and your emotions and your experiences and all of that. It's all part of you. We're all part of the matrix, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah.
We're all complicit and we're all responsible. We've all
Yeah.
been part of all of it. You can't get around it. You can try, but like I said, you can run and hide. You'll only die tired. So you might as well face up to it now. And there's going to be a lot of people looking at all this stuff been going on underground with all these kids and everything, and they're going to be pointing the fingers at people, saying, "Oh, these murdering no good so and so's, they need to be hung. You need to rip their things out, uh, tear their guts out, and hang them up." I gotta.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but guess what? You know what you're pointing the finger at?
Or
That
myself.
that's a judgment. You're making a judgment on that person. You're saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, you shouldn't have done that. That was no good. That was rotten. That was the worst thing in the world. You're terrible. You're no good." And all. Guess what? You've already been involved in something like that, or you wouldn't be pointing the finger over there. You wouldn't be
Yeah.
looking in the mirror and looking at yourself and your own emotional responses to these horrible things you're seeing
Well,
without realizing.
all that horrible stuff is what I wanted to find out. Is
Well, that's
really
what you're going
going
to
on
find out.
here.
And you're going to
Yeah.
find out you've been part of it.
Yeah.
At some previous incarnation, as far back as you got to go, you were part of it, which is why
Yeah.
you're now having these emotional responses to these videos and horrible things that you're seeing that all these absolute sick-minded people that you once were is doing. But guess what? They're all coming to the consequences right now.
Yes.
You're being on the outside watching what's going on and being tested on whether you can accept the responsibility of having been involved in something so horrific and being able to forgive yourself and not pass judgment on another living soul.
It's going to be hard.
Well, that's the
If I
nature of
find
it.
out that I was one of those people, it's going to be hard to forgive myself. Absolutely.
But you can. You have the aptitude for it because it's part of the growth that every soul's going to have to deal with sooner or later. You just happen to be coming to it at an amazing time right now, at the beginning of this golden age, where the benefit is going to be 100% recognizable, and you're going to be able to take part in it. Because we got a lot of souls out there that are in a state of holy shit.
Yeah.
And as these doors begin to open, oh my God, they're going to be coming from hither and yon, wanting to know, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? Okay.
You're
And for
right.
those of and so they're going to find an access to the truth once they decide that they need to learn something and are willing to step towards the problem, which is them.
S Some don't want to know.
I can't help that.
I know. I
That's
know.
not my problem.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So this whole thing is an amazing adventure for us, especially the ones that are getting an idea and have the capacity to step up. And so far, I'm seeing a few people, a few souls that are saying, "Yeah, let's get on with this." So yeah, we can do it because
Yeah.
we're going to be in the middle of one amazing set of adventures that's going to open doors in places that were not available before.
Yeah.
That involves all the so-called executive offices that are out there and administrative offices who've been ripping people of their life, their liberty, and their property for a long time.
Absolutely. They have.
only they're going to be coming to us. We're not going to have to go to them. See, this is the beautiful part about this process that I haven't really unfolded for too many people to see, but it's the duty of the people who have stepped in the positions of being our overlords to fix the problem as we're entitled to. Or they get to suffer the consequences of Gitmo.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Sheriff, guess what? You've done a lot of bad things. I got a sign out here that I just posted, and I'm sending you a copy of it. Certified return receipt. Oh, and Mr. Attorney General, same thing. By the way, the sheriff is the highest authority in the county over
Yes.
commerce and all things affecting the people. He's it. Even the Secret Service can't enter the county without calling him first. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
No, I didn't.
Well, I'm telling you right now, that sheriff supposedly is one of us.
I
He's one of
know,
the sovereignty.
supposedly.
I
Yeah,
said
he's
supposed to
supposed to
be.
be. Yeah.
Okay, that's why they've had this sheriff movement been going around for quite a while. I don't
Yeah.
remember the
They
name of the
don't
group.
always.
I don't know the
They
name of the group. I don't
definitely.
remember. But guess what? They all had their head in their butt. They didn't want to talk about what we're talking about right now.
Oh, they.
So
Some of them definitely don't go with the Constitution. That's for sure.
I know that most of them don't. They don't even have a clue what
Yeah,
it is.
don't
And
even
that's why
care.
there was a mandate handed down by the White House to all the sheriffs that you guys better come online with the Constitution, or you're in trouble. So
Yeah.
that's something that Jim made the comment. I don't know where he got all his information from, but I agree with that. Okay, so you take the sheriff first, and once that person is operating according to our Constitution and our sovereignty, and is a member of it, now he can enforce the Constitution as it was intended.
Yeah.
And if you've got a government employee that refuses to record or file something, or refuses to come out and survey the property and then write up the schedule for your property, showing the metes and bounds, and the lawful owner, who is the possessor of it, qualified citizen of the state, okay, if that guy doesn't do that, the sheriff's going to go over there and say, hey, buddy, your position has just been vacated. Your office is now abandoned because you're going to Gitmo. And we'll find somebody else to take your place.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of qualified people out there who are going to be ready and able and willing to take these steps we're talking about, because they're going to be interested in helping the people to return to our constitutional form of government, which is not what most people think. I don't need a president to exercise my unalienable rights. But the
Right.
founders chose to create a system and put somebody at the helm who was steering the ship to protect the people in their privacy by regulating all the commercial activities. Whoa, that's a whole different animal. So if you're affecting the public, if you want to do business, you want to get a corporate license and all that garbage, go right ahead. But guess what? You're going to be subject to all the rules and regulations that are put down to keep you from violating the private sector. I'll give you a good example. How'd you like to come home one night and find some big sign stuck on your door that you couldn't even hardly get by it that was telling you, buy Joe's hot dogs? You think that's beyond some of these people's attitude about how to sell things to the public, get their attention?
Yeah.
No, they've been doing it for how long?
A long time.
But they all got to have a license to do it, and they all pay
Yeah.
taxes, and then they add the taxes onto the cost of the merchandise, and then you get to pay that,
Yeah.
along with all the other taxes you've agreed to, which you
Yeah.
don't know.
I feel
So
like we just pay taxes constantly. It
yeah,
doesn't
well,
matter
it's
if we're
because
living or if we're dying or whatever. We have to pay a
yeah, but
tax for it.
it's because you're a taxpayer. Why are you complaining
Yeah.
about something you agreed to? And then the rest of the community, which is getting ready to be dissolved, is all about commerce affecting the public, And you're going to find that more and more people getting into the private side. I can take any business you want right now and change it over completely to the private side, where it won't be regulated, it won't have a license, it won't be a corporation, it won't be none of that junk. And the people that work there, if it's a lucrative business that's designed to give the people stuff they need for their daily lives, and it's the right quality, and it's at a reasonable price based on transportation from one place to another, and the cost of the production of it. See, that's what we're talking about here, which is why everything's so expensive right now. You got 10 middlemen between the guy that produced or grew the stuff, the guy that delivered it, and the consumer who picked it up.
Yeah.
And every time somebody sticks another connection between all that, price go up. Why? They gotta take care of the
They
middleman.
got to pay another person. Yeah.
That's it. That's why things get more expensive. It ain't got nothing to do with print. It's got nothing to do with print and paper. You know, I could print a gazillion papers out there and still have a correctly operating system based on people's labor, their time, and the products they produce, and how they transport it from the place where it's made and the people who need it. I could fix all that crap. But that's not part of the 3D world. And it's going to be very minimal when it comes to the 5D that we're all moving towards and moving into right now. But it's going to be part of it, and people are going to understand what privacy means and how powerful it is. And what it does is it not only creates the separation between the public and private controls, but it also instills a sense of who can make the best product.
Yeah.
Grow the most nutritious food. I can have two big planter boxes sitting in the street, and one of them says organic, 100% real, rotated, nutrients, live, watered with, and the other one just says, "Here I am. Which one are you going to buy?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And if there's no sign on it to who it's for, are you going to take it?
Well,
The heart of the person that does it.
do we have the right to take it?
No, it's not yours. There's no sign there
No,
that
it's
says.
not.
There's no sign there that says take one.
No, but you could
No,
buy one.
I didn't say for sale either.
Oh, okay.
So what are you going to do? You're going to take one anyway?
Probably not if it's not for sale.
Oh, well, that's good, because if you did, you'd be regressing back into the 3D world.
Oh no.
These are simple little things. You know, you find a $100 bill on the ground. What do? Grab it and put it in your pocket?
No.
Why not? You found it. It was just
It's not
laying there.
It's
Nobody
It's
put their
not
name on it.
yours. You
not
might
mine.
take it and put it in your pocket and try to find the owner.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, see, I got all these little, they're minuscule little tests, but they show where a person's integrity's at.
Yeah.
And that's a big piece of this.
Well, Mason, we're just surrounded by so much corruption. At least I am in my area that I live in.
Yeah?
That the
What can you do
sheriffs
about
aren't. The sheriffs have been indicted.
it?
The
Yeah?
the
I
deputies
love it.
are corrupted.
Yeah? What are you going to do about it?
Well, that's what I'm on. That's what I'm on this call about, trying to grow a set
Okay?
of cojones.
And
Because,
we're starting the first step, which is the sign.
well, yes, I mean, I've always operated under the theory that everything I say or do can and will be used against me,
Of course it
and
will.
I know that, so I'm very careful about what I say or about what I do,
Oh boy.
and 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 since my brother is an assistant chief of police, I
Your
I've
brother's a
yes.
assistant chief of police?
Yes, and
Wow.
I'm already not allowed to go over to his house,
Isn't
and
that amazing?
we don't break bread and eat dinner
You know what's going to
together.
happen? Let me tell you what's going to happen.
Well, we just don't talk.
There's going to be a bigger separation than we don't talk. because he's one of those people that's going to be on the list of, well, you better retire or resign from your position, otherwise you're going to go to Gitmo. You're
Well,
going to be arrested.
I haven't come that far with him yet,
You're
but
not going to be able to until he's ready.
one of his best friends was sent to prison because
Okay,
of corruption, and
okay.
they were very good friends. But
I don't care. That's irrelevant.
I should be, you're telling me that I should go into our little, let's just say 5 county district in South Central Missouri here. And I'm sure that, I mean, in a discussion I had just last Monday, I
Okay,
had a discussion with a bondsman, a guy that sends the bond for guys that are getting arrested. And we talked for an hour and a half about lots of corruption with the county sheriffs. And he just said there's a real problem. And until it's corrected,
yeah.
it's not going to get any better for the people that are getting arrested and trying to face these issues with substance abuse. And that's what I was focusing on.
Yeah, but you
Was
can't help people that aren't ready to be helped.
Well, no, I can't. But
Now
but
here's where you step. Let me look at you're getting way out in left field with all this stuff.
well, it's
I'm
just
trying to
because
bring you.
that's what
I'm
I'm
trying to
involved
reel
with.
you. I'm trying to reel you in here.
All right, I'm listening.
Start with your own personal life and your own personal property.
Certainly,
Well, let's figure out who you are, where you are, and what your rights are, and what you have the right to do.
that's a good place.
Okay? And the first place is you might ask yourself, where's the sovereignty of this nation at?
In the toilet.
What?
I think it's in the toilet.
Court?
In the toilet.
Sorry, you're breaking up when you say
Uh,
that.
I
Don't yell.
in the.
He
I'm
said it's
sorry.
in the toilet.
It's in
Yeah,
the
he said
people.
the sovereignty is in the toilet.
No, it's not in the toilet. It's in the people, unless the people's got their head in the toilet. That's where the
No, well,
sovereignty would
there you
be then.
go. That's one way to do it. Yeah.
But I mean,
Oh
I'm just
God.
thinking the people are not standing for their individual rights anymore. They're just
Wait a
sheep.
minute. Are you the people or are you just one of them?
I'm a people.
No, you're one
Um,
of them.
no, I'm not one of them anymore.
Yes, you are. Don't even say
Well,
that. Because if you do that, you're just going to be where you're at, which is nowhere. On your way back down the slide into the 3D world with all the garbage that you're having to deal with right now. You're seeing it in real time, in your face, personal. Now, is
well,
this where
I
you want to stay?
no
Is this where
no,
you
and
want to stay?
I understand what you're saying there. I
Well,
just
then
feel like
stop saying those
I
things
just feel
and
like
listen
it's
to what I'm giving you.
okay.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a very tolerant guy,
Thank you.
okay? And I have on more than one occasion gone way beyond where most people think I had the right to go. But guess what? Spirit's my lead. I just don't jump in somebody's shit unless I'm invited.
Uh huh.
I was invited to this group. So here I am. So you guys got what you got. But I'm not here for no reason. And I'm not here to waste my time or yours. I'm here to give you information that will help you grow. And if you listen to what I'm telling you and you follow the lead, you'll find there's things, and I already told, what's the other young lady's name that was on this call? What did she call herself?
Arjax.
Salty's assistant? What the hell is that?
Yeah, I'm RJ or Arjax.
What's an RJ?
It's my initials
Your initials for what? Real
for my
jazzy?
name. For my name.
You
It's
guys,
my
you
name.
crack me up. My name's Michael, by the way.
Oh, it is. Well, hi,
Yeah,
Michael. I'm
yeah,
Robbie. I'm
yeah.
Robbie
The
Jacksheimer.
the
That's who I
last name,
am. R
the Mason,
Jax.
the Mason's my last name.
Yeah. Okay.
So I
Got it.
mean, there's no secret here who I am. But
Okay.
But here's the whole idea with this whole thing. Let's get on the same page to take a step in the right direction, and all that other stuff is superfluous in your background, because you're surrounded by ignorant people, and you're trying to figure out, how do I deal with them? It's real simple. You know how to keep your mouth shut?
I do.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you know how to be an example?
I think
Yes,
so.
it's the way you live.
What's the
Yep.
first thing you learn?
Keep my mouth shut.
Yeah. If you get back to every time you wander off out there in this wild world of everything goes, you're going to
Shut
find the
up.
problem sooner or later is going to find the solution, which is shut
Shut
the
up.
hell up. Yeah, be quiet. That's where
My
you get
wife
all your
tells me that
input.
all the time.
Yeah, she knows. Oh God. All right, listen.
She's
This
over
this
here sitting here laughing now.
Okay. This is not complicated. This is real simple. You take that sign, you sit down, go over it, look at all the words, get Noah Webster's 1828, look up the words, take those words that are in there, and if you don't understand something like this foreign soil thing, I was going to give you the difference between where you're sitting in your property and where somebody else is out there who thinks they have a right to trespass on your property. Because the property you're on belongs to the people at large. That allodium is in the people at large. You are going to lien that piece of property that you and the people at large agree that you can possess, because that's the nature of the agreement. We the people. And it's the sovereign people according to Chisholm versus Georgia, page 455, if you want to look it up. So this whole thing is an exercise of people coming together collectively and being in their private sovereign capacity and a member of a group that's got the same mindset. You're going to start this by posting that sign and sending it to your sheriff, the corrupt mother, and your state attorney general, who's the highest common law officer of the state, not the county, and the governor, who's supposed to be the overseer for the militia. Ha ha. Are we on the same page here?
I am. I'm on the
Okay.
page.
All right. So there's nothing complicated here. So go ahead, and I'm gonna take the time now. As soon as I get, you guys get settled in a place where you're comfortable, I'm gonna go make sure I get the California thing, which is the same as Nevada. It's just got a different state seal on it. Make sure you put a provision there for either your name or phone number, or just your phone number, or however you want to identify the person to make contact with you. I'll tell you what, you could do something real crazy. You could put a little notation on there, number so and so, whatever that number might be. You make it up, and you say, um, contact the local sheriff, and he will give you the contact number for that, or contact information for that number. And why are you doing that? You're making the sheriff the interim to make sure that nobody's going to bother you who doesn't have a right to bother you, or who doesn't have the right attitude about what they want to talk to you about. There's all kinds of ways of fitting this whole thing together in a way that the sheriff can't negate his duty, which is to protect the life, liberty, and property of the citizens of a state domiciled in his county. Why? Because he's one of them.
Okay.
Complicated here. You're just posting a sign telling everybody on the planet, this is my property, it's allodium, and it's foreign soil. If you are not a citizen of a state, if you weren't elected by the sovereignty, you can't come anywhere near this property. And if you do, you better make an appointment. If you got a warrant, you better make damn sure that this party that gave you the warrant is a sovereign, and that there's two of them that are swearing under penalty of perjury that whatever it is they claim you violated or you did is some damage to someone's life, liberty, or property, They better have done that because that affidavit is their death warrant if they lied.
All right.
There's a whole bunch of little principles to our American common law, not the English common law. We're sovereigns now acting in a sovereign capacity among fellow sovereigns. You're not going to trespass on your sovereign's rights any more than you'd want them to trespass on yours. And there's a way to communicate without trespassing.
Won't be fancy,
Giving,
but it'll be a sign.
I know, but you're giving the world the opportunity to do the right thing. And as this thing unfolds, more and more people are going to get the idea. Hey, man, that sheriff is my employee, only he's one of me. If he is one of me. If he isn't one of me, then why isn't he?
And just
Yeah,
Took
he's
an oath.
supposed to be.
They took an oath, see? And I'm telling you right
Yep.
now, every stinking sheriff out there that's collecting their salary in Federal Reserve notes is committing treason against the sovereignty of this nation. That includes all the rest of them, too, whoever they might be, whatever employment they may have, judge, marshal, president, I don't care. Why do you think Trump didn't take a paycheck?
Oh, wow. I didn't even think of that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, now you got it in your head.
he wasn't just being benevolent, huh? Taking a
Nope.
dollar.
Nope. That wasn't a dollar. Remember, dollar's 412 and a half grains of silver. And it's got a
Uh-huh.
certification from the United States Mint and the Treasury Department right on it.
Uh-huh. Well,
And
well,
it's
I knew he
supported by
did.
Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1 of the Constitution.
Uh-huh.
It's all connected. And if your state, depending on when it was actually made a state, you may even have a provision in your state constitution about banking is not authorized.
So
I know California does.
you want us to include the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776, and Articles 2, 4 of the Confederation of 1788 on the sign?
Yes. And I want you to, I think the date on the Articles of Confederation statement on the sign is incorrect. I think it's 1787.
Oh, well, this
The
one says,
88, I know what it says.
yeah.
I'm telling you, that needed to be corrected, and I almost forgot about that. But um, I sent somebody who was in the other group to fix that and to post the proper date because we got a gentleman from I think it was from Minnesota who posted an example of his copy of the sign, and that was great, man. And but he had the wrong. I looked on it and I said, oh, that's not the right date. No, that's the Constitution was 88. June 21st, 1788 was the ratification date of the ninth state that ratified the Constitution for the United States. Okay,
Uh-huh.
that was the date for the Constitution. That's not the date for the Articles of Confederation because it was a year earlier. 1787 was that one, or
Okay.
1770. Oh, jeez. Why don't you go look up the date of Articles of Confederation because I'm not looking at my computer and I don't want to get this thing confused. I got a book in there with the dates on it.
Yeah. You don't have a picture of that guy's sign, do you, that you could send and share?
I had the wrong date on it. Why would you want a picture of his sign?
Well, I didn't think he had the wrong date on it, but
He
okay.
did because I told you. I
Yeah.
saw his and realized, oh, that's the wrong date for the
Oh,
Articles of
okay.
Confederation.
All right. All right.
You know,
All right.
17. Why am I thinking it was 1787? Anyway, I got to go in and look at myself. But right now I got a fly problem. I got a little doggy eating her dinner out here on the porch. My battery's getting low, and I got dinner looking at me.
Class adjourned.
uh, so I think we covered about as much as I can think, and all I'm going to do is to fulfill my part, which is to get Salty the copy of the state seal. And
I
what else
I
was I
looked
going to
up
give
the
you?
yeah, I looked up the state seals. I made a lot of notes, and low tide and RJack are on there where they can help me edit docs as we need them. So I've got
Okay.
all kinds of stuff laid out, and when you tell us to change the doc, we can change it on here for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made those things up in I think a PDF format, as I recall. But if you got the right program, you can fix it.
Yep.
Yep.
Put them
You
up
go
on
enjoy
Google.
your dinner, and thank you for
Yeah.
spending the day with us. We won't let you down. We're your troopers. We're over here working.
That's fantastic, and I'm 100%. So whatever you need, you call, text,
And
call me, or
Okay.
whatever.
I'll try
Well,
to
I'm
stay
not-
out
we're
of
if
the.
going
I'm
to get
not
to work on it.
okay,
I'll
if I'm
try
not
to
if
stay
I'm
out
not
of the
sleeping
dumpster.
or if I'm not sleeping or feeding the chickens, you got me.
Yeah, I'll try to stay out of the dumpster for 'em.
Quack, 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 quack. Okay.
Okay. Take care. Bye bye, Mason.
All right, honey. Bye bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye bye. Enjoyed
Bye.
the talk.
All right.
Okay.
See ya.